Chances are you've started off on the floor, worked your way up, supervisor, and now you're in a role of being a warehouse manager. It's a big transition to make it from that supervisor role into that management role. And we're going to walk through some of the common mistakes that people are making as you progress as a leader of that warehouse. Your day-to-day previously was being on the floor, making sure everything was running smooth. You saw all the mistakes that they were making and all the good things they were doing, but also those mistakes. And you're looking at, how do I come in and implement something and make it a lot better than what they were doing previously? Problem is, you have so many ideas, so many things that you want to come in and really change and make it better. But these are some of the 6 big mistakes that you could make and how to avoid them. The biggest thing that I see is people not making that transition from being that supervisor on the ground and making that step into that management role. You're looking at it as, hey, I know how to fix this. I know the team, I know everyone, I know how the operations works, and I'm gonna go in there and kind of get my hands dirty and implement whatever needs to get fixed. That's where your shortcoming will happen really, really quick, because you can't be doing everything now. You are now guiding those supervisors and the rest of the team to make the right decisions. So coaching that team, coaching that member, coaching that supervisor, making sure that they have the right tools in place to help them and make the right decisions is the biggest thing. On the other side, it's not hanging out in your office and being worried about getting out there because you have all these other things on your mind, trying to get things done so that you can get to your director and get all the numbers and everything that you should have ready for them, and not getting out there and showing some face time. It's a balancing act. You're going to find out what works best for you, but at the end of the day, you need to spend at least a little bit of time each day or each other day on the floor and just making sure that there's a presence there and that people know who you are and that you're out there making sure that things are running smooth. You're also going to find out, if you act as one of the guys all the time, people are going to take advantage of that and really steamroll you and cut corners wherever they see. Instead, you have to show that you're there, you're part of the team, however, you're there as a leader, and that you're going to be optimistic and really show that you're trying to push this operation forward. So making sure that they're heard and they're seen, but also drawing that line of professionalism, which is a big step from a supervisor. A lot of people aren't used to that big step and having that line to say, hey, I got to look at where I am and what my team is all about. And that really makes a huge difference. And I found out the hard way personally of not making that line hard enough. With that, you also have to show that you're a person. If you pretend everything's always okay and everything's running smooth, people see through that and they just will poke holes and they won't believe you no matter what's happening. Yes, you gotta be optimistic. You gotta be the cheerleader of the team. However, you also can show a little bit of your own personality. And when you're in there, if there's something terrible going on, just letting the team know, hey, this is really terrible. And I know we just gotta get through this shift. And once we do that, tomorrow's gonna be a better day type of thing. Goes a long way. Being authentic goes so far. Mistake number 2 is not listening to your employees' ideas. Now, when you're a supervisor and when you're on the floor before, you remember you had all these ideas of how to make things better and going to the warehouse managers, supervisors, trying to get that implemented, and nothing ever happened. Now where you're in that role, it's so easy to kind of take a step back and you're going to hear a lot of different ideas come at you all the time of how to improve things. And it's so easy to dismiss those ideas. Instead, what you should really be doing is thinking about, well, how did it feel when those ideas were kind of dismissed? And how do I let that person know that they've been seen, or also how we can implement that? Having a plan of going from the idea phase to listening, having that quick conversation, and then to either dismissing it so that you let them know, hey, that maybe this time isn't the right time, or we have this other project that's coming down the pipeline that will really help with that, so we shouldn't do that yet. Or actually implementing those ideas and seeing where they go is going to be a big leap and big bonus for your team and morale as a whole. So by listening to them, you're going to have buy-in from them, because now when they go and they see problems, they're going to be going towards you and the supervisors of how do we fix that. With having that buy-in, now your team's going to try that extra little bit harder, and you can actually have trust in your team to accomplish their goals and get things done, so that you're not micromanaging everyone and things are running as a well-oiled machine. Mistake number 3 is not investing in employee development. So the great thing that's going to happen to you is you've been on the floor, you know who your key players are, you know where the weaknesses are, you know where the strengths are. That is a huge bonus that the previous warehouse manager didn't have that you have. Use that to your advantage. Now, with that, you're going to know the people that you should be kind of moving up the ladder a little bit more and giving them maybe some cross training or some opportunities to grow in different areas. The one big mistake I see people make out of this is you have these key personnel that are so good at their jobs and they're just a well-oiled machine. They can do it in their sleep. However, you just want to let them do that so that the job gets done correctly, it gets done quickly. You don't have to worry about it. The problem is they're going to hit that ceiling. They're going to end up getting frustrated at some point because they're not growing. They're not making that extra couple of dollars an hour, that sort of thing. So looking at how you can cross-train them or give them other opportunities so that they don't leave your facility for someone else down the road for a few more bucks. Instead, give them those opportunities, have those conversations with those key employees that you know already. And then also, you really want to train up your supervisors to take a look at who's there and who's coming up and who we should kind of continue to train and cross-train in different areas. The key is to kind of get them to start seeing what you see. You've been there, you've done the job, you understand the ins and the outs, you understand the business, you understand the dynamics. So instead of going and talking to that key player of just like, okay, what would be the next steps? I think you'd be really good in this area. Why don't we try you out here or here? You also want your supervisors to see and hear that. Because what you're doing with that, and you might not even notice it, is they're getting trained of what you're looking for, but also how you interact with them and how you are motivating them at the end of the day to try and get them into the next level. So just by having them there, having those conversations, that's key. But also afterwards, reinforce that with them. Go through and be like, hey, the reason why I saw this with this person, I was seeing them do this, this, and this, and I've seen them do this for a while, and I think they'd be really good over here. Talk them through what you are seeing. I think that's the biggest thing that people forget about is you're forgetting to let them know that these are the things I'm seeing and here's why I'm doing this. This is intentional. It's not just me walking through being like, oh, hey, you should be doing this. Letting them in on your brainwave and why you're doing things, going to help your supervisors so much. And when you make that next step into that director role, they're going to come in as that warehouse manager and you're going to be an all-star because you've made them an all-star. Mistake number 4, assuming teamwork happens naturally. With your team, you're going to start seeing that they're not collaborating a lot outside of their own department or even sometimes in their own department. What you need to really do is foster that communication and allow them to have that time to communicate within the team, but also department to department. So things like having stand-ups before the shift starts, but really getting people to communicate. Not just, like the supervisors or yourself coming in there and just talking at your team. Instead, allowing them to come to you with ideas, calling out, what things that they saw in a shift before or what happened and getting them just to talk a little bit. We'll start breaking down that ice and start that snowball effect. The other thing you're going to start seeing is department to department. If it's one supervisor, sometimes you'll see them take that communication and go from one department to the other, and that's it, so that the two teams aren't talking as much as they should be. Sometimes that has to happen, but also fostering that collaboration between the departments is really, really beneficial if you can. The other thing is department to department that aren't on the floor. If you have your sales team, procurement, whoever that is, inviting them down onto the floor, getting them to communicate with the people that are actually doing, the movement of goods and things like that, that helps out everyone seeing what's happening and understanding, the challenges that everyone's facing. But the biggest thing that no one talks about with that one is we're all human. It's not someone, complaining about this person in this other department for doing this thing. When that person comes there, they see them face to face. It's not just a name or another department. It's that communication that's going to happen naturally that will help break down those walls and help alleviate some of that stress points that you get day to day. Mistake number 5, not rewarding achievements. So it's pretty easy to get into the habit of walking through and seeing all the negative things that are happening. You walk through the warehouse, you start seeing, things that aren't cleaned up, the broken pallets, things that aren't working the right way, and you're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to be stressed. There's going to be a lot of pressure on you. So it's easy to just be nitpicking those negative things because it's hurting you day to day. Those things are going to get better. But the only way those things get better is by having a really good team to support you and that want to support you. So calling out those small achievements of the positive things are so good for your team and morale. It's going to help you and your day-to-day massively. And I'm a firm believer of the small little shout outs and thank yous go way further than the employee of the month. I think the walking through and you see someone, pick something up or go that extra little mile and that you call that out and you let them know, hey, I see what you did there and that was great that you did that. I wish people would do that all the time. Those small things go so much further than those big parts of the achievements. But I really do think having the team get called out here and there goes much further. One thing you might want to try is at the end of your stand-ups or your weekly meetings, whatever that is remembering the last 5-10 minutes is shout-outs for positive things. Things that the team did really well, things that your team got through, key personnel, people that went the extra mile. Everyone's walking away from that meeting not being like, oh, we just got yelled at for 20 minutes about all the small things that we're doing wrong. Instead, we came together, we collaborated, I listened to what they had to say, I gave them some feedback of what's going on, what is actually coming down the pipeline, and then everyone starts their shift. Way better than the negative way to do it. It's going to help team morale and performance is going to go through the roof on that one. Mistake number 6 is not setting clear goals or expectations for the team. One of the things you should question yourself is, how do I know someone actually is doing a good job, okay job, or a poor job? You don't have those goals set out or the outline of what that actual role looks like and what success looks like for that one role. How can you measure against that? So making sure that you have all that lined out, and that might not be a day one thing, that might be a goal for the first, quarter or whatever you're in, really having that lined out of what looks good and what is success. But having those clear expectations from each department, individuals will really help team morale. Everyone likes to work towards a goal. Everyone likes to see where they should be and how they can measure themselves. Being really explicit about that and really being transparent of what will be successful and what won't be successful is going to help you. The other thing that is really easy to do is going through and be like, hey, we should really clean up this area. It needs to be done. But there's no clear goal of when that should be done. So when you walk through the next time, next week or whatever that is, and you don't see that done, they're like, yeah, we're going to get to it. It's not priority to us. Really using dates is a huge hack that's going to make your life a little bit easier. Coming in being like, this needs to be cleaned up by Wednesday or Friday, whatever that is, will really help the team know, okay, so we got to get this done. This is our priority this week. The next 2 days, we got to start chipping away at that and make sure it's done. It's so easy for people to be like, yeah, that's important, but we're not going to get to it. With those expectations of those dates, it's not you micromanaging. I hear that a lot from new managers saying, I don't want to micromanage everyone because I didn't want that, or I hated when my boss did that. That's not micromanagement. Instead, that's setting clear goals of what needs to get done, and it's actually giving them something to drive towards and will help them be successful at the end of the day, and showing them those expectations of being transparent of what you expect for them to be successful. The biggest takeaway is your job has changed a lot. You've gone from being on the floor day to day now to a huge leadership role and making sure everything's working well and personnel is in the right place at the right time. The key thing to all this is remember what it was like being that supervisor or being that person on the floor. What did they want to hear? What motivated them and what didn't work? And then bringing that into your day to day. On top of that, leadership is completely different for every single person. It doesn't matter what your boss used to do or what you didn't like about it. You are a completely different person. Yes, you're going to need to work on certain aspects of leadership and running that warehouse as a whole. but it's about what your personality is and how you're going to bring that into your day-to-day. By doing that, you're going to avoid burning yourself out trying to be something you're not, but also that authenticity that you bring in day-to-day is going to be well received. And you also have all these skills that you had from when you're running the operations on the floor to show them this is how we're going to make things better. If you're looking for some other ways to be a better warehouse manager, check out our next video.